Welcome back to the Synergistic CX podcast. This is part 3 of our 3-part episode where we're focusing on bookstores. In the previous 2 parts of this episode, we explored the key elements shaping the customer experience in this industry and also analyzed the customer journey map. Now, in our final segment, we'll broaden the conversation with Lina Schölin as she shares her expert insights on the evolving landscape of customer experience. Christiane, I know, has a battery of questions to ask you. You've been in this industry for a very long time, and we're very excited to hear your insights.
Yes, Eric, thank you so much. And thank you, Lina, again, for accepting our invitation to be here with us at the CX channel. I am particularly proud of this interview because I have been a fan of Better Business for a long time. I have been known for this company for over 20 years already. And my first question would be exactly about this legacy of Better Business in the mystery shopping industry. What makes Better Business, for our audience that maybe doesn't know the company so well as I do, what makes Better Business a pillar in the mystery shopping community and customer experience research industry? And following that, I would like you, if you could speak as a second-born generation leader, what is the part of this legacy that you are most proud of?
Well, Better Business is a Swedish company from start, and it was actually the first Nordic mystery shopping provider. So our founder, Veronica, as you were talking about generations, my mother was also the founding member of the MSPA Europe. We have been market leaders in Sweden since day one, more or less. As far as the industry, I think that we are few of us who has worked with global brands in multiple markets going back 20 years. We're also the founders of the Smiling Report, which is a data-driven global insights based on mystery shopping activities through MSPA partners. Besides that, we created a regional CX index in Sweden, where we provide an annual report based on the insights from mystery shopping from the top 100 retailers in Sweden. We are also authors of numerous books, both for buyers, management, and also for employees, which are all related to and mystery shopping subjects. And to answer your second question, we turned 30 years this year. This is really a celebration year for us. And since the start, my mother managed not only to keep her company's head over water throughout the history, throughout hard economic climates, inflations, etc., but we have also been considered thought leaders as well as market leaders here in Sweden. And I'm proud of the hard work mentality and the cost efficiency and always focus on the bottom line. And we are transparent with clients, subcontractors, employees, shoppers. We also through the years managed to recruit and retain a high number of fantastic employees, and which when we managed to have them stay with us for over a decade, several of them. So we're really proud of that. And the layers of quality and routines, the backup plans, the risk-averse sense of mentality. Veronica, my mother, has been my true mentor. And in the beginning, going back 20 years, I didn't even notice at that, but she really started poking me already then, I think. But as a company, we already established also great coordination skills, managing global clients. And we currently work with both national and international clients. And one of our largest clients has been with us for 18 years, so we take great pride in that. And last but not least, today I'm actually proud that we sold our fantastic company in 2022 to another great owner who are listed in the Stockholm Stock Exchange. And that's a big stepping stone, which came with that acquire was that we merged with one of our largest competitors in Sweden. So. And that company also offered loss prevention services, which took us into a new market as well, which was very exciting. So, yeah.
That is fantastic. And the legacy that you described is really interesting within the mystery shopping industry. And I remember when 20 years ago, when I met Veronica, one of the buzz around the industry, because MSPA was reviewing its guidelines here in Europe, was the impact that mystery shopping had on employees' perceptions, for example, that many times it was not very well perceived because they thought they were being spied on and they could be fired because of mystery shopping. And Better Business was a pioneer going against that wave and actually had the first book about mystery shopping, explaining the benefits for employees and educating them about the advantages of the methodology. So really, we have a lot of things to be proud of.
Yeah, thanks.
So, Lina, you spoke before about the many methodologies that Better Business use for customer experience management and employee engagement. But if a company is starting, what advice would you give companies when deciding the best research methodology for their needs?
Well, first of all, you have to define what problems you need to solve and why. There are so many companies out there who are measuring with different types of methodologies without any purpose or strategy for how to handle the results, for example. I think it's also common that the company already sits on a lot of data that they can have valuable insights from as standalone or in combination with other data, but there's no central resource who has the knowledge or know-how how to connect their bits and ends. But at the end of the day, as earlier mentioned, whatever you define the problem is, I think you need a combination of the subjective and objective approach.
Yes, that is interesting, and it leads me to my next question. In your experience, what are the most common mistakes that companies make when interpreting research results?
When focusing on mystery shopping, which is closest to my heart, at first they have to be able to rely on the data, the client that is. And to do so, the client really have to be able to rely on that all elevations are carried out in the same manner in terms of mystery shopping profile, the periods and the scenarios, etc. And in general, for research, small sample size can be dangerous. In mystery shopping, it can be drawing too many conclusions based on a single mystery shopping evaluation from a single unit or take a written open comment out of context. Looking at low score sections first rather than having an overview over time. Sometimes the eye tends to focus solely on the sections less successful right now. This causes a loss of possibility to both strengthen the already well-performed, but also an understanding for the overall score. Basically making rash decisions sometimes without checking for possibilities, for possible underlying variables. As a leader or person in charge, you need to be self-aware and understand your role as well. Could it be that the staff is unsure of what they're supposed to do? We're seeing example in employee surveys where there's a discrepancy regarding what the staff knows and feels and what the manager thinks that the staff knows and feels.
That's true. That's especially true in many business. And from moving from there, exactly, you mentioned that sometimes companies are already sitting on a lot of data and they don't know what to do about it, and you're starting a new program. What would be your advice on how can organizations can move from simply collecting data to creating truly actionable insights?
Well, first of all, the organization needs to point out a recipient who has ownership internally. Preferably, this person is also the organization's spokesman to the provider of the research, like the spider in the web, maybe an insight manager, for example. Secondly, the organization fundamentally needs to understand why do we do this research, how it is conducted, and how we work with the results. The staff needs a purpose and plan in order to be able to digest the insights. When data is received to the insight manager, it's his or her responsibility to make sure that all, like, for example, regional managers, unit managers know how to interpret the data in order to take action with staff. We think that including employees when analyzing the data on a unit level is very valuable. For example, bring the evaluated part into the discussion, allow them to share the thoughts and points on improvements, as well as the highlights, the strengths, like what would be the best action plan henceforth given the result X and Y. This will be a great exercise when looking to analyze and improve an employee's understanding of the customer experience.
So ownership, knowledge from the team that's involved, and involving your employees on the management and in continuous improvement programs. So those are really key insights, really interesting. So Lina, during our presentation today, we spoke a lot about bookstores And now we have a small transition because you brought a really interesting case study for us about customer experience in destinations. And in your magazine, we are covering one particular destination and also how bookstores perform in that particular study. So I will start by asking you about this CX at destination concept that Better Business developed to help cities improve their overall service quality. Can we walk us through the key elements of this methodology?
Yeah. The CX at destinations is a guest experience research based on mystery shopping methodology. We evaluate the customer journey starting from browsing the destination website through traveling to, experiencing activities, food, accommodation, and then leaving, going back home. So there are 18 different touch points throughout this entire journey.
That is really interesting. And when you implement this kind of projects, what are the main benefits cities and destinations can expect when investing in an integrated CX program?
Well, most and foremost, when using mystery shopping as a method, they get an objective evaluation of how tourists perceive the customer experience in correlation to the defined desirable behaviors. It will give them a clear picture of where, during which touch point, they have their strengths and weaknesses. It will give the business at that destination fellowship, mutual goals. Also, it will mostly create clear expectation towards each other and also for that specific business as well. Many small businesses does not maybe have access to consumer insights. And this program will give them added value since they now get the data and they can set an agenda in their small businesses, which will maybe not have taken place otherwise. So it will benefit all individual businesses as well as the destination as a whole. With a successful program, they will gain loyalty. They will have increased habitats and tourism, which will add revenue to the destination, who can invest, for example, infrastructure, or which can give them a broader or a wider range of tourists. And brand reputation. All businesses in the destination will benefit from a great customer experience from its peers in the destination. For example, if a hotel receives more guests, restaurants in the same city will benefit probably from it as well. And the long-term goal will, of course, be to be successful and inspire new businesses to arise and be created and add more added value to both citizens and also tourists.
Yeah, and this, of course, also benefits the local residents as well, not only in terms of the economy and job creation, but also because they are clients, customers of many of these services as well.
This is fascinating. Lina, was this a concept that you came up with, the Better Business came up with on your own, or did a city approach you with this and now you're looking like it grew from there?
No, actually, it grew from our side, and then we kind of ascertained the first client, which was before COVID. But the case study that you're going to see also in the magazine is from a destination who has a hybrid of this type of CX at destinations, but it came from our side from the start.
Being such an integrated approach to customer experience, and this reflects one of the pillars that we spoke before about the key success measures to have a good program, which is ownership. In this case, is the ownership of the destination itself. But I guess there are also challenges, and particularly when you're combining different business categories in this study. So my question for you would be, what are some of the challenges destinations face when trying to align different types of businesses around a common CX standard? Because in this case, you have several businesses in the same program. And when you speak about the magazine, we have bookstores, but also tourist attractions and hotels, restaurants, etc. So what are the challenges that you need to overcome to make this project successful?
Yeah, it's a selling process, absolutely, locally at the destinations. But once you explain the benefits, it normally takes off. But I mean, the challenge is that they are from various industries and all types of businesses. It could be large brands and smaller brands, and almost each and every one has their own customized. It could be formal or informal customer journey and touch points, as well as concepts, processes, and goals with customer service. All of this is reflecting like a normal customer experience and mystery shopping project. So based on best practice, we created a standardized scenario and measuring points regardless of the above in order to enable benchmark in between the different locations and throughout the customer journey. So most of the questions are repetitive and not industry specific. So it could be an off-the-shelf product from the client side of view, but it can also, of course, be customized for if a specific destination has special requirements.
Fascinating. So in our magazine that we'll be launching in May, we will have case study, not only explaining in deeper detail this methodology, but also we will have a business perspective from one of your clients. And they were kind enough to also facilitate the interview with 2 of their bookstores, so we can close the full cycle with our study topic. So Lina, without going into specific details about the city that you share on our this month magazine, can you introduce the client that will feature in the business perspective section, and why do you believe that their approach is inspiring for other destinations?
Well, the city of Linköping is a destination in Sweden who is also using the powerful tool of mystery shopping. They are not using the full CX destination tool, as I mentioned earlier, but a hybrid of it. They needed our help to improve the hospitality in their city. All different kinds of places, retail, hotels, churches, hairdressers, etc. Everything is included. I think there are 250 units included to identify and increase the service level. So they are a true inspiration and a role model for other destinations who work with customer experience, or should.
Yeah. Thank you again for facilitating that contact, and our readers will really enjoy, for sure, the interview in this month magazine. So Lina, what skills or mindsets are essential for CEOs leading customer experience agencies today?
I think that many of the customer experience agencies that I'm referring to mostly are mystery shopping companies when I say this, because that's what I'm most familiar with. I speak for myself as an agency in the smaller size, which many of are in the industry, since our segment is quite narrow. But in a company of our size, I would say definitely start by saying knowing your business model by heart and the important processes that are crucial to you, just like the customer journey for our clients. I also think it is very important to be close to your clients and support them and develop together with them. And innovation, clients don't want to ask for new features and ways of measuring. They want you to be proactive, and this must reflect also how you lead your organization, continuously looking for improvements. I also think that it's very important, of course, to set long-term strategic goals, which can be measured and also be agile, since the world is changing rapidly, and of course, everything cannot be foreseen. Your people is your success, diversity, and make sure that you have a great process for recruitment, retaining, and inspiring. And last but not least, look at your company processes and leadership from the outside in rather than the inside out. And finally, be a role model. People will do as you do, not what you say.
Absolutely. And in a business that is changing so much in the last years and will continue to evolve in the next years, my last question for you is, if you had to share one key message with the next generation of customer experience leaders, what that would be?
It would be to never forget that behind every data point is a human being. As technology evolves, don't chase quantity at the expense of quality. And don't base decisions solely on the sheer volume of numbers. The future of customers' experience belongs to those who can combine insights with emotions and design experience that are both intelligent and human. Finally, you hold the insights. Your challenge is to communicate and create an understanding of these insights throughout the entire organization.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Lina, for being part of our podcast and later on this month magazine with your case study. And it is a pleasure working with you in these topics. And we're looking forward to following your journey and better business journey all the way.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again so much for being our special guest on this episode. Before we wrap up, what is the best way for our audience to contact you at Better Business?
I think it would be to maybe look me up at LinkedIn, Lina Schölin with 2 dots LIN, or you can visit www.betterbusiness.se and you will find me at About Us.
Fantastic. And will you be attending the MSPA Europe Africa Conference in Estonia in May?
I will.
Great. We look forward to seeing you there. We'll be there in attendance as well. So this wraps up another episode of the Synergistic CX podcast. Go visit our website, www.cx-channel.com, to download the magazine, which includes this episode's bookstore industry study with detailed results and also additional commentary and some case studies from Lina. This month's issue also includes a special interview with Linköping, a city in Sweden with a strategic approach to customer experience that involves all types of businesses and also features an interview with 2 of their top-rated bookstores. Be sure to press that subscribe button and follow us on LinkedIn, YouTube, or the social media of your preference, and stay up to date on our activities. And be sure to leave your questions and comments about what industry you would like to see us explore next. We love your feedback, so please keep that coming. We'll catch you next time, and thank you for being part of the CX channel where CX professionals converge.